Hey, and welcome back to Wild Mythology. I welcome you to the channel with bread and salt. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about 14 mythical creatures from African mythology. But before we get to that, don't forget to join our giveaway for the book Bullfinch's Mythology. All you have to do to join is subscribe and make a comment on this video. Plus, don't forget to comment on any other video I make this April. It gives you an extra chance to win. Now, on to the ferocious mythical creatures from Africa. Number 1. The Werehyena. Perhaps the most famous mythical creature from African mythology is the Werehyena, a creature similar but very different to the famous werewolf. Just as the werewolf transforms from human to wolf, the Werehyena transforms from human into hyena. But that's where the differences end. A Werehyena can also be a hyena that transforms into a human. Plus, in most myths, werehyenas are able to transform at any time and don't need access to a full moon. Another difference is that werewolves are made while werehyenas are born. While the werewolf curse is passed through numerous ways of infection, like a bite, the werehyena gene is passed on from generation to generation. Hyenas and humans have had an imposing relationship dating back to the early humans of Africa. So it's not surprising that hyenas have been shaped as villains in myths and folklore. Werehyenas have a gluttonous appetite and are usually solitary creatures that have a talent for luring people away from their homes by calling out with human voices. But they are known to sometimes hunt in packs. In fact, there was a town near Lake Chad in Central Africa that was believed to be entirely populated by werehyenas. In Ethiopia, blacksmiths were traditionally thought to be werehyenas and were referred to as Buddhas. Because blacksmiths worked with fire and had the power to melt and shape metal, it was thought that all blacksmiths could use magic and use that magic to transform into werehyenas. It also didn't help that blacksmiths passed down their skills from generation to generation, making people think that magic infected a blacksmith's entire bloodline. According to Ethiopian legends, the Buddha werehyenas were gravediggers that ate the rotting flesh of corpses and were forced to transform at night and then forced to transform back at dawn. Number 2. The Grootslang. The Grootslang is a legendary creature said to dwell in a deep cave called the Wonder Hole or the Bottomless Pit in Richardsveld, South Africa. The Grootslang is said to take the form of a humongous serpent with the head of an elephant with great fangs coming out of its mouth. Additional descriptions have the legs of an elephant coming out of the front and back of the Grootslang's serpent body. According to legend, the Grootslangs were one of the first creations of the gods. But the gods made a mistake. They made the Grootslangs too strong and smart and extremely cruel. The Grootslangs went on a rampage, destroying and devouring everything in their path. Eventually, the gods had enough and decided to destroy the Grootslangs by cutting them in half, thus creating the first elephants and the first snakes. But legend has it that one Grootslang was able to get away, and then it made its home in the Wonder Hole. There it hides, hoarding diamonds and precious jewels, while it devours elephants it lures inside its cave. Anyone foolish enough to enter is never seen ever again. Number 3. The Kongamato. The Kongamato is supposedly a pterodactyl-like creature living in the Congo, Zambia, and the Angola areas of Africa. The locals have described it as a reddish lizard with membranous wings, sharp jagged teeth in its beak, and a wingspan ranging from 5 to 15 feet. It's well known for dive bombing the canoes of the natives and either capsizing the boats or breaking them. While its diet consists of mostly fish, the Kongamato will have no problem attacking humans. According to legend, Kongamato will dig up human graves and eat rotting corpses. Number 4. The Impundulu. The Impundulu, also known as the lightning bird, is a mythical creature from the tribes of South Africa. According to legend, the Impundulu is a creature that is able to summon thunder and lightning with a beat of its wings. Apparently, the creature only shows its true form to women. Men only see the Impundulu as lightning in the shape of a bird, but women see the Impundulu as a black and white hammerkop, the size of a person. It's also able to transform into a handsome man, allowing it to seduce young women. As well as being a creature of lightning, it's also a vampiric creature with a deep love for blood. When the Impundulu is in its bird form, it feeds from other birds, but when the Impundulu is in its human form, it feeds from other humans. The Impundulu are usually the familiars of witches and witch doctors, and because Impundulu are immortal, they are passed down through a witch's family from mother to daughter. This makes them viewed as evil creatures. Impundulu have been said to cause sickness when a witch orders it to, but they can also be quite useful if one knows the bird's secrets. The fat of an Impundulu can be used for important healing medicine, and the feathers can be used to track down another human. According to legend, the only weakness of an Impundulu is fire, a weakness that many have exploited so that they can acquire the bird's fat and feathers. Number 5. Kishi. Kishi is a two-faced creature from Angola, Africa. At first sight, a Kishi seems to look like an extremely handsome man with a charming personality that lures in any woman he meets. But what the women don't realize is that they are being drawn into a trap. Because on the back of a Kishi's head, there is another face that lies in wait. The face of a hyena that has unbreakable jaws. Once the Kishi charms a woman, it will usually take its victim to a secluded place and lean in for a kiss. When the woman begins to lean in, the Kishi turns around, revealing its hyena face. A hyena face will then bite into the woman with its strong jaws, and while the woman will scream and try to get away, she'll find that it's impossible. Once the hyena face bites down, it is impossible to break its hold. There is another version of the story where the Kishi will first have a child with a woman and then eat her after she has given birth. The Kishi will then take its child away and teach it the ways of human devouring. Number 6. Aigamuxa. The Aigamuxa, also called the Bushmen, are creatures of legend from the Khoi people in South Africa. The creature is human in appearance, with the exception of having eyes on its face. Instead, the Aigamuxa have their eyes on the soles of their feet. The Aigamuxa is a man-eating creature that enjoys hunting travelers in the desert. Because of the unique placement of their eyes, the Aigamuxa have become extremely well adapted to running on their hands. That doesn't mean they won't chase their prey on foot though. The best way to escape an Aigamuxa is to run in a different direction once it starts chasing you on foot. It will eventually have to stop and flip on its hands so its eyes can find you. Number 7. The Nandi Bear. The Nandi Bear is a creature from folklore of the Nandi people in western Kenya. It's described as a huge creature mixed between a bear and a hyena with red fur, a sloped, shaggy back, and front shoulders over 5 feet high. It's a dangerous and ferocious creature with a love for eating livestock and people by smashing open their heads and eating their brains. It also enjoys scalping humans. The Nandi Bear is generally nocturnal and will climb, smash, and force its way through barriers and huts to get at its food. Legend has it that the Nandi Bear lets out a terrible howl, and that when it stands on its hind legs, it towers over every animal in Africa, except for the giraffe. Sightings of the creature began in the early 17th century and continued up until 1998, where the last sighting took place. Number 8. The Popobawa. The Popobawa is an evil shapeshifter that inhabits the island of Pemba off the coasts of Tanzania. While a Popobawa takes on many forms ranging from human to animal, its favorite form is a half-man, half-bat-like creature with a single eye. Legend has it that the Popobawa is an extremely cruel and fame-seeking creature. At night, Popobawa will transform into his man-bat form and attack entire families, assaulting every man, woman, and child. When he feels especially cruel, he will sodomize the men and women, and then warn them that he will be back for more if they don't spread the word about what he had done. Popobawa then leaves the house and goes on to the next one. He also takes personal offense to people who don't believe in him and attacks them with great passion. As well as being able to shapeshift, Popobawa is able to possess humans and speak through them, as well as paralyze his victims if they stare long enough into his eye. The best way to know if someone is a Popobawa is if they smell heavily of sulfur. Number 9. The Tokoloshe. From Zulu mythology in South Africa, we get the Tokoloshe, small mischievous creatures that are usually associated with witches and malevolent witch doctors. While having many descriptions, the Tokoloshe are always small, with some describing them as gremlin-like and others giving them a primate-like description. They usually have long bony claws and are said to have gouged out eyes and sometimes a hole in their foreheads. Legend has it that they are sent by evil witch doctors into people's homes during the night to cause mayhem. The Tokoloshe's actions could range from simply frightening its victim, to biting off a person's toes, to strangling a person in their sleep. The only way to avoid a Tokoloshe is to have your bed raised high enough off the ground. Many people used to sleep on top of grass mats that laid on the floor, giving easy access to the Tokoloshe. But with a bed, say, raised on bricks, the Tokoloshe wouldn't be able to reach the sleeping human. A Tokoloshe is created when a jealous person has a grudge for someone. The jealous person would go to a witch doctor requesting their help, and the witch doctor would find a dead body. They would then stake the eye sockets and brain with an iron rod and then sprinkle a special substance on the body to make it shrink and transform into a Tokoloshe. The Tokoloshe would then go terrorize the jealous person's target, but afterwards would take a soul of a member of that jealous person's family. If a Tokoloshe continued to terrorize the same house or person, a benevolent witch doctor called a Sangoma was called in to purify the home and its inhabitants. What makes the Tokoloshe especially scary is its ability to turn invisible. When it swallows a stone, it becomes completely invisible to everyone but the witch doctor controlling it. Imagine being strangled by something you couldn't even see. Number 10. The Crocotta. The Crocotta is a creature from Ethiopian legend and is the offspring of a male hyena and a female lioness. The Crocotta is the size of a donkey with the backside of a stag, the chest, the neck, and tail of a lion, a badger's head, a horse's mane, and cloven hoofs. Its fur looks somewhat like a spotted hyena, and its mouth opens from ear to ear, showing a dreadful smile of sharp, bony teeth. The Crocotta also has the ability to mimic the voices of humans. It will usually trick a human by calling out for help using a panicky voice. The human will then rush to help the desperate voice, only to realize that they have become a Crocotta's meal. It also uses the same technique to trick dogs into thinking they're being called by their owners. Number 11. Chipfalamfula. Chipfalamfula is a colossal fish creature from Ranga Bantu legends. It has complete control over water and can either be favorable towards people by providing long rains for crops, or disastrous by summoning floods and causing droughts. Legend has it that the fish is so large that an entire town lives within its stomach. The town has an endless supply of livestock, is surrounded by land that is eternally fertile, and is filled with people who are at the peak of happiness. The legend goes on to tell the tale of a young girl who is almost drowned by her older sister. Luckily for her, Chipfalamfula finds her and invites her to live within its stomach. Agreeing, the young girl spends the next couple of years within the great fish. She eventually comes out of the fish to confront her elder sister, but finds that she has changed. Any human that spends time within the great fish's stomach goes through a metamorphosis. Their skin becomes silver scales, and their features more fish-like. Number 12. The Nunda. The Nunda, or Mngwa, is a deadly mythological cat creature from Tanzania. It's been described as a leopard with gray and brindled fur, but bigger than any known lion. It's famously known as the eater of people, mostly because tales from fishing villages tell of men and women being brutally maimed and devoured by the beast. There's also an old legend about a sultan who finds a Nunda cub and decides to keep it. Over the years, the Nunda grows bigger and bigger and continues to eat the livestock of both the Sultan and his people. When people begin to complain about the cat, the Sultan brushes them off, telling them that he owns everything in his kingdom and so does not need to pay them back. Eventually, though, the cat eats 3 of the Sultan's sons, making the Sultan come to his senses. So he sends his remaining sons to kill the beast, only for each of them to die. Luckily, the youngest son survives and kills the beast with his spear. Other legends say that the Nunda is a poisonous creature and that its very breath can kill a man in an instant. Number 13. The Adze. In West Africa, the Ewe people have a legend about a blood-sucking creature that is able to take the form of both an insect and a human. The creature's name is Adze, and it becomes a firefly or mosquito when it takes its insect form. As an insect, Adze is able to fly through keyholes, under doors, and cracks in the walls of homes. Once inside, Adze will search for a sleeping human and suck out some of their blood, causing the human to fall incredibly ill and potentially die. If an Adze is ever captured in its insect form, it will instantly transform into its human form. In Adze's human form, they gain the ability to possess other humans. Once possessed, the Adze will usually harm its host's family, or a person its host feels jealousy towards. Those who are possessed by an Adze are called an Abasum, or a witch. Number 14. The Inkanyamba. Zulu people have a legend about creatures called Inkanyamba. Giant snake/eel creatures with the head of a horse and the ability to control the weather and fly. Inkanyamba are said to live around the Howick Falls in South Africa, and according to legend are incredibly vicious, territorial, and are able to produce terrible storms when angry. There have been many sightings of 2 Inkanyamba fighting in water over territory, causing great destruction in their wake. During the summer, it's thought that Inkanyamba migrate, causing hail and storms as they fly away. Legend also has it that when a male Inkanyamba is looking for a mate, it will cause a giant tornado until it finds one. And there you have it, folks. I give you 14 mythical creatures from Africa.